Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to swing on Jim. He's a complicated fellow.
People like me.
I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN.
We're learning a lot about each other. Jim's an onion. You got to peel back the layers to get to the good part.
So you can tell Rutledge that. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Amen. Because I'm here for whatever.
It's kind of a roller coaster. Sports is a roller coaster.
Matt, let me ask you a question. Matt, let me ask you a question.
If you get food poisoning from a place, do you go back?
Like for more food?
No, if you go back ever. Like you get a bad burger from a place.
Give him a second
Broadcasting
chance.
live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison with Matt Hamilton alongside Alex Gravatt. Here's Jim Rutledge.
It is Jim, Matt, and Molly. No Molly Brown. She is off for the week. She's not had her babies as far as I know. I feel like we would be told in the top 10, Alex G. I feel like we'd be the top 10 to know. Primetime Willershine behind the glass. Matt Hamilton is joining us live from Canada once he gets his mic worked out. We are live from the Everlight Solar Studio. We are presented by Coors Light. If the mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's Crush, a Coors Light.
And the Badgers, unfortunately, got crushed by Nebraska over this weekend. And the Nebraska Cornhuskers volleyball team also beat the Badgers volleyball team over the weekend. Not a great weekend out in Nebraska for the Badgers. And I do want to talk about what I think is going to be one of the most important games, if not the most important game for the Wisconsin Badgers since, at a bare minimum, Brett Bielema has left the program. And I do want to talk about the upcoming Dolphins game, which I do think I'll start with this. If the Packers beat the Dolphins, and I know they're favored by 3, I'll be far more impressed than their win over the weekend. But the Packers did what good teams do. They beat a struggling team that you don't want to face in the playoffs, just based off KBN's poll, where you asked which team do you not want to win the NFC West. It was the 49ers by a landslide, so it's a team you don't want to see in the playoffs. And you went and you basically put the 49ers' chances of making the playoffs in peril. Thankfully for them, they play in a pretty bad division. And now the Packers are lining themselves up to compete for the 2 seed, maybe the 3 seed. 4 seeds also in play for the Green Bay Packers, as Detroit won, Minnesota won, Philadelphia won handedly as well. So no changes really at the top of the NFC, but the Packers did get a big win at home against San Francisco, 38-10, Alex G.
Saquon Barkley is crazy. I'm happy about this Packers win for sure. Saquon Barkley over there in Philadelphia, wild.
Do you think Saquon Barkley would have the same season for the Green Bay Packers as he's having with Philadelphia?
That's a good question. I do think that the Matt LaFleur system would play really well with his skills and his strengths. That was part of the reason why I wasn't super excited about Josh Jacobs, because Josh Jacobs is just a bowling ball of a human being, whereas you have a dynamic, excellent playmaker, a freak athlete. So would he have the exact same season? Would he have dropped 255 yards last night? Probably not, but he would do really well.
300 total.
Oh, yeah, 304 or whatever. He had more total offense than the Giants did. The Giants are just abysmal.
Well, and that's part of it, as Matt Hamilton can hop in here, too. And, Matt, I'll ask you this question before we get into the game. I think the motivation of playing for Philadelphia, wanting to stick it to the Giants, I think matters. Just like I think Aaron Jones not having the season, the Packers made the right choice of moving off Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs, but he's having a heck of a season, and obviously he can't will himself to stay healthy, but he's having a Aaron Jones vintage type season for Minnesota. So I do think sometimes that extra edge of playing a team, we'll see it next year when Aaron Rodgers goes to the Vikings. Like, you see that edge of a guy that wants to stick it to his former team, and it can bring a lot to the table. But Matt Hamilton, I want to, before we get to the game, we just were talking about Saquon and Josh Jacobs both having great performances, but I got Stephen A. in front of me right now saying that Saquon Barkley should be in the mix for MVP.
Yeah.
Do you think that Saquon Barkley would have the same season with the Packers as he's having with Philadelphia?
I had questions about Philadelphia's offensive line when they lost Kelsey in the offseason, but they've proven that they are as good an offensive line as they've ever had. They were good last year with Kelsey, and they didn't seem to lose much. Maybe a little bit in pass protection, but they seemed like they have the run game absolutely dialed. Like he was good against the Packers in Week 1, but that rushed offense and that offensive line looks really dangerous for Philly. And that, like we've said it all season about Jordan Love. If Josh Jacobs can get going, it's going to open up the playbook for LaFleur and Love, where defenses are going to have to respect the run. And if they're one step too late because they think Jacobs got the ball, Love's going to take care of him. That's the same thing that Jalen Hurts is doing for the Eagles. So, yes, long story short, Saquon should be in the mix for MVP talk, even though it's a quarterback award and he won't win it. And 2, I think that the Eagle offensive line has fully come around, and they are the Eagles of old. I don't see these same mistakes they're having at the end of last season the way they are right now.
The Packers, their game against the 49ers kind of reminded me of the Badgers back in the day with Russell Wilson and Monte Ball, where they had touchdowns to hand out, and it was who's going to get them? Because 3 touchdowns for Josh Jacobs, but he ran for 106 yards, 26 carries, which is not a massively mind-blowing yards per carry. And then Jordan Love had 2 touchdowns. You could have flipped it, and Jordan Love could have had 5 touchdowns, and Jacobs could have had none, or Jacobs could have had 1. It was kind of hey, whose turn is it to get a touchdown? But that was the dominating performance on the offense, aided by a good defensive performance against the 49ers that put the offense in good position. The Packers were able to play kind of just, what's the word here? They just kind of seemed to have it in second or third gear throughout on offense. They didn't have to throttle up and get too crazy with the play calling. They were able to kind of ho-hum their way through it, which I think is perfect going into a Thursday game, to not have to empty the playbook, to not have to, you got Romeo Doubs likely out since he was out with a concussion.
Yeah.
He stayed healthy through it. It doesn't look like he got banged up in this game. This is the perfect game going into having to play on Thursday. You couldn't have scripted a better performance for the Green Bay Packers.
I really like that, It seemed, like you said, a high floor game. They just didn't feel like they had to try that hard to beat this team. And they were able to run the ball, which is something that's been, not a huge problem, but we've struggled a little bit with it. I think that it was a good win for Packers offensive line morale. Jordan Love had a fine game, but it was always fun to watch because every time he dropped back, he just launched it. There were 5 throws, 6 throws,
using
20-plus yards.
58% completion percentage.
It was brutal. It was disgusting. 3 throws.
163 yards, yeah.
The 3 throws right before halftime where he just threw, it was a 24 or something yarder, a 30, and a 40-yarder. All of them incomplete, but it was fun. The drop from Christian Watson still. Packers have 22, 23 drops on the season.
Christian Valdez-Scantling? Is that what it says?
Is that what did I say?
No, I was saying.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
He's we call him CVS.
Yeah. I will say, though, there is something to be said about playing to the level of your opponent, and that's what, average to good teams do. And that's kind of what I feel like we've been getting from the Packers against teams that I feel like we should beat and beat by more than a 1-score game. And they actually went out there and took care of business and did what really good teams do and elite teams do, and that's make sure that the other team that's not as good as you doesn't have a sniff.
Good teams.
Sure, they were hobbled, but the Packers, they got their first touchdown. They drove down the field in the first half at some point, and the Packers never looked back.
So are you saying this game made the Packers elite?
No, I'm just saying that's what elite teams do, is beat teams that they should beat, and we haven't done that much this year. It was the Titans, a team that we should beat, that we handled easily, and then there's other games, and they're we should have had a better game against the Bears, right? But we weren't able to. We made mistakes. We shot ourselves in the foot as much as the Bears stepped up when to get the game close, and then eventually shot themselves in the foot. We played down to the level of our opponent. I think that this game, we showed that we can bring the energy instead of mirroring.
So are you saying it's a trend that this is the outlier, that the Packers normally match someone's, and this was the one game that they didn't match someone's energy? So is this a trend?
Yes.
Or is this the outlier?
Yes, they haven't played up to their potential, especially against teams that I feel like they should beat. Maybe this was like an eye-opening, like this is how it's done, and this might be something that sparks how they play the rest of the season.
Or is it just the one game that's an outlier? Which is more likely?
It certainly could be, because right now it is an outlier. But
the Arizona Cardinals win.
I'm going off Matt's.
Jim, you don't think this was a good win?
I didn't say that.
You think it's a ho-hum, whatever, move on next?
I think the Cardinals were a team coming in, a division leader, on a bit of a roll. Kyler Murray looked pretty good. I don't think the Packers took them lightly. I think it's the team that, like right now, Niners, they didn't have Bosa. They don't have Ayuk. They didn't have Purdy. You easily could have started looking at Miami. Instead, They focused on what they had to do and took care of business, and that's what really good teams do. They haven't done that this year. I'm hoping they learned from this and are able to apply it to other games this season. Get up for a game against an easier team the same way you would against the Niners at full strength or the Lions.
And I don't disagree with that. Daniel Landscaper chimes in, might cause some riff, but the Packers still haven't impressed me with any game this season, haven't beaten a single playoff team, and some of the lesser teams they've barely beat, unimpressed so far. That's from Daniel the Landscaper, not Jim Rutledge.
Okay, just put it out there. The Packers,
we beat the Seattle Seahawks,
we have to please,
we're guaranteed to have beaten a playoff team because we've taken the other three in the NFC West.
844-770-3776 is how you
with
get
the
into the
AFC
show.
South.
I would say that this game was like weirdly, it was like a vibes game. Like you feel good. I'm going to be far more impressed with the Packers if they go out and beat the Dolphins, even in a similar fashion. Like for me, Thursday is like just get it done sort of day. Like you could beat the Dolphins by 1. Like to me, Thursday games on Thanksgiving are always just like a hodgepodge. If the Packers lose to the Dolphins, I don't feel differently about the Packers after they beat the 49ers. I think the Packers are, the third best, maybe the fourth best. I think they're tied with Minnesota, and we'll see how that plays out as the third or fourth best team in the NFC. And I think that if they lose to the Dolphins, my opinion on that's not going to change. So as long as they stay healthy out of that. So for me, this was kind of a 2-game pairing, and they got the first part done, and they honestly handled it in the best case for them, where this was not a knock them down, drag them out game where they're just getting beat up and they just have to like limp their way into Thursday. That was not the game, and that could have been the case to Matt's point. But I do think this was one of those games where the Packers, to Matt's point, they got it done. Good teams beat bad teams, or good teams when they're down. 49ers are down. The Packers, and here I'll use this as an example here. With the Bears, at the end of the year, I want to say the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, the Bears had a chance to play their starters. I think they only played their starters either half the game or not at all the last game of the year against the Packers. The Bears won the division. They had the division lined up. They couldn't move in seeding. So the Bears either played their starters only half the game or not at all. The Packers needed that win to get into the playoffs. The Packers won that game, got in the playoffs, beat the Bears in the NFC Championship game, went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. So the Packers, by winning this game, the most consequential, the biggest narrative I take from it is that they have preemptively, possibly, slayed the boogeyman. Because beating the 49ers in the regular season is not the problem for the Packers.
No.
It's beating the 49ers in the playoffs. Now, if you can slay that dragon before they even, so the dragon can't arrive, like that to me is the most important thing from this game, is that you may have killed Freddy Krueger before Freddy Krueger had a chance to arrive in your nightmares.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. The Niners obviously are not, I don't want to say not an issue in the regular season, but we've had our wins.
I think it's 2-2 in the
season.
regular season over the last 4 times. This now makes it 3-2.
Right. So it's clearly a playoff issue against the Niners. But yeah, if they don't make the playoffs, and part of that could be because of this win, who knows?
That honestly could be the most important part of this game.
Yeah, I agree. And to your point about that, like slugfest, we all did predictions this week. I predicted a 3-point win for the Packers just because of how I felt about the Packers going into this. They just let lesser teams hang around.
4 touchdown
win.
win.
They decided not to put their foot on the brakes. They kept the foot on the gas. boot on the throat, and were able to do that for 4 quarters. And that is the anomaly right now for the Packers, Jim.
So that's funny. I don't pick the Packers to win by double digits much. This was one of those games I did. As soon as I saw Purdy and Bosa were out, I didn't think the Packers. One, I knew the Packers would take this game seriously because that 49ers still carries some weight for the players. This was kind of. It's not you didn't slay the dragon of the actual dragon.
No.
The Packers play a healthy 49ers in the playoffs. It's not well, we've beaten this team. No, you beat a team wearing 49ers uniforms. But again, more importantly, you didn't fully cripple, but you kneecapped the 49ers' chances of making the playoffs, and that's the most important thing from this game, and you did it handily.
Spoiler alert, but it's like when the Avengers go back and find Thanos, and he's completely decimated.
Yeah.
I bet that felt good. I feel good. I was celebrating on my couch with my friends. It was great.
Okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel good about it. I'm saying that the
Or
players,
felt good about it.
if the players show up, right, if the players have to play the 49ers, there's no, I don't think there's some mental dragon that was slayed in this game.
The offensive line looked great. The red zone percentage looked great. Turnovers looked great. I mean, it was a complete team win, and at times it felt like the Packers haven't put together a complete team win, all 3 phases dominant.
How many games in a row does a team need to do this? Because you weren't panicking right after the Packers had a drag-out fight against the Bears.
A coordinator change always makes it hard. It's an in-division game. Division games are
the
always
coordinator
under
change wasn't on. Jordan, the Packers' offense sputtered. They turned the ball over. They didn't score a lot of points against the Bears team that's has had some blow up. I mean, Arizona. Since the Washington game, the Bears defense hasn't been the same.
I think for sure the Packers need to look and reevaluate what they're doing outside of a bye week, because they always do this out of a bye week. But I was just saying,
I wouldn't have made a narrative change about the Packers only beating the Bears by 1, nor am I making a narrative change now. I have to see 4 or 5 games. If the Packers go out and beat the hell out of Miami, well, then we'll start talking about a narrative change, because now they've strung together 2 massively impressive games in a tight window.
Would you need a 2-score game for the Packers to get that sort of bump in your eyes? If they win by a touchdown, is that enough?
Here's the thing. It's not even a bump necessarily, as opposed to Philadelphia and Detroit look so good right now that I have the Packers right there with Minnesota. And I don't think that's going to change until they play Minnesota, until they go to Minnesota and beat Minnesota.
So what about Detroit? Should the Packers beat Detroit in Detroit? You feel good?
The Packers, to me, are not in Detroit's category. Doesn't mean they can't beat Detroit, but to me, it's Detroit and who's going to play Detroit in the NFC Championship game.
They look so good. I was looking at the advanced stats, and they've got the offensive defensive efficiency. There are 4 teams that are very solidly in the entire NFL in the upper echelon of both offensively efficient and defensively efficient. First off, they make a square. Detroit, far and away the best. More offensive efficiency. You've got the Bills. The Eagles are more. This was before Sunday Night Football, so I imagine this looks a little bit different now. But they're probably closer to that Detroit echelon, and then the Packers are the only other team in that range.
Yeah. What are you talking about right now? Is this geometry or football?
Football.
It's football, but it's an axis. There's the offensive efficiency access and the defensive efficiency stats.
I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what are we doing right now?
If anybody was going to embrace the stat talk, we thought it'd be you, Ryan.
And I'm bored.
Wow. Wow.
Look, Thanksgiving's coming up on Thursday. The Packers have a big game against the Dolphins. You're going to want to eat and gorge yourself all day. So get in front of it. Go to Carbon World Health, get a couple of workouts in, ask about semaglutide, ask about hormone optimization or cryotherapy, because if you're putting in work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe after a workout on Wednesday you want red light therapy or cryotherapy, you can ask again about different ways to improve your life. At their new Sun Prairie location as well, they had 2 locations, one in Madison, one in Sun Prairie. Ask Carbon World Health about how you can get to your fitness goals, semaglutide, hormone optimization, cryotherapy, Botox, so many great things, including they have a Black Friday sale going on. You can check that out at carbonworldhealth.com. Jim, Matt, and Molly continues next.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, ESPN Madison on YouTube, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Jim, Matt, and Molly every week to find out where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes and High Life Lights. To celebrate our love for dive bars, we are going to tell you about some of our favorites, including one featured dive bar that will offer $2 High Lifes and High Life Lights for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin like Ideal Bar, Hooterville, The Dam Bar and Grill, and Madison VFW 8483.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Hi, I'm John Hayes of Goodman's Jewelers. It's hard to imagine, but Goodman's has been the diamond store of Madison since 1933, which means your parents, maybe even your grandparents might have shopped with us. We maintain the same high standards, honesty, and integrity that kept them coming back time and again. Keep their history and our history alive. Shop Goodman's Jewelers today in the heart of Madison at 220 State Street. We're online at goodmansjewelers.com.
The best is at Goodman's.
Santa's back again. Santa's back.
That's not a Christmas song, Dad.
That's true, Sid, but I'm celebrating our ESPN Wisconsin Racine Danish Kringles Jingle for Your Kringle contest on Wilde and Tausch, where you could win Kringle for a year. It's back for another year.
Can I enter?
Sure, anyone can. All you have to do is submit your own original jingle to celebrate the holidays and Racine Danish Kringle to ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Then we'll pick the most creative songs, and our grand prize winner will get Kringle for a year. There's only one requirement. Make sure you include Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition in your jingle. Or if you don't want to sing, but you still want to celebrate the holidays with the Racine Danish Kringle, call 800-4DANISH or visit Kringle.com and order their all-new Holiday Stick Sampler.
Sweet dreams of holiday Kringle, Mary Berry and apple, and lots of icing too.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm working on my jingle. Kringle, I love you.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Your warehouse concrete floors see a lot of traffic. Uneven, sinking, or cracked concrete can pose a serious threat to any business operation. From trip hazards to cracked foundations, sinking concrete can keep any business owner up at night. Concrete Lifting Technologies is here to help. Concrete Lifting Technologies can even out that concrete floor to prevent these hazards. They can level your warehouse floor within a few hours and don't even need to shut down your operations. Visit itaintmudjack.com to get a free quote today. That's itaintmudjack.com.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Tune in to Jim, Matt, and Molly every Friday for Fish Friday. Brought to you by Off-Broadway Draft House, Madison's favorite spot for a Friday fish fry.
The Dolphins come to town. It'll be cold for them, which works in the Packers' favor. The Dolphins come to town on Thursday for a Thursday night Thanksgiving game, a night game, 7:15. Man, that's a tough one. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light. The Mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's crush a Coors Light.
Matt Hamilton is on the show live from Canada. Alex G in for Molly Brown. She is off this week. Not off for children yet, as far as we know. But the Packers handled business, which is what good teams do against the 49ers. And I think, honestly, the most important part of that game, more than anything else, is you're right, it could set a new tone for the Packers of playing, up to their or above their level of competition, however you want to word it. But I think most importantly, it puts the 49ers, now they do play in a pretty terrible division, but it puts the 49ers
what
in a
a
tough
fall
spot.
from grace.
I wouldn't call it a fall from grace. You and Tauscher's trying to write off the 49ers.
No, not the 49ers, the NFC West.
Oh, the NFC West.
They've just always been so good.
Right. The NFC West, it is one of those things where, they have, I don't think the Rams are bad. I don't think the 49ers are bad. Right now they're bad because they don't have any players. I don't think Seattle's bad. They just don't have any great teams out there. But I don't, I'll tell you this. I don't think, none of those teams look like fun to play in the playoffs because you got Stafford. Widely, I think he's compared, people call him John Wayne of playing quarterback.
Sure.
And then you got, I guess Seattle, but the Legion of Boom is starting to come back a little bit when you got McDaniel there from the Ravens coming out that way. So I think they're probably the team you'd like to see the most. The 49ers, if you're a Packers fan, it's just the boogeyman factor there. So the NFC West, we'll have to see how it shakes out. I think they just have a bunch of, slightly above average teams.
They have teams that could win any individual game.
But I will say this, the 49ers, and this is just what happens sometimes, and it's not, I just think they could be back next year. But if they were healthy, they would be, I think, right up there with Philadelphia and Detroit at the top of the NFC. But this is what happens. Sometimes you just catch the wrong injuries, and this year they're catching the wrong injuries, and they're not going to be up there. So they don't deserve to be in that conversation now. The Packers ended their season. Dolphins coming to town, and the Dolphins are one of those teams you talk about injuries. You got Tua has been out for a while. Now he's back. His last 5 games, he's tearing it off. Ryan, you actually sent us the tweet. You can give us the number. You pulled it off Twitter there. Alex is going to pull it up. That Tua's just been crushing 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 1,000 yards passing in his 5 games and since he's returned. And the Dolphins are winning a lot of those.
Yeah, 116.2 passer rating, too. They're crazy. I was shocked to see that because I don't think, I don't think of him as that good of a quarterback. He's always kind of been one of those question mark quarterbacks around the NFL, kind of like Trevor Lawrence almost. But the thing is, this is just from a fantasy perspective because I've been really in on fantasy this year. No one on their team does anything unless he's the quarterback. And I don't understand how, it doesn't feel like he's that much of a game changer or difference maker, but he must be, and they're on a 3-game win streak.
Last year, and Matt Hamilton, I saw you messing with your AirPods there. Are you back in the show? You're still what's that?
Oh my gosh. I got sent with a headset. There's cords, so it's already too much technology for me to figure out.
Okay.
The wireless ones also I wasn't able to figure out for a second. I don't know. I guess I'm older than I like to give myself credit for. Can't figure out technology.
Well, and Tua, again, this year, here's why he's effective. He's completing almost 74% of his passes, and he's only throwing 4 interceptions and 13 touchdowns. So he's just a guy who he's like the modern day game manager. He just kind of, the avatar is similar to Brock Purdy. I think he's a more talented Brock Purdy, where he's just going to make the right decision. He's not going to wow you with anything physically he does. Jordan Love, when he gets pressure, he makes some, he'll make some throws of hubris, and he'll make some dumb decisions and throw the ball into tight spots. Tua can't get out of those situations, so then he doesn't throw it. He just throws it away. So his warts are a little different because he doesn't have that big boomer bust. If a play blows up, he's just going to get rid of it.
2023 threw 14 interceptions, which isn't that's not few, but through his career he did a long time. You're getting caught up in what
doesn't matter. My point is, Jordan Love is more explosive, can make more explosive plays, but Tua, again, if you wanted to compare him, completing 70% of his passes that year, 69.3% of his passes for fourth. So, he's a guy who's just incredibly efficient, as opposed to Jordan Love. Jordan Love is explosive. And I think Tua, it's harder to wrap your brain around a guy like that being good because efficient isn't sexy.
Can you choose a different word choice in talking about Tua like that?
Efficient?
Wrapping your brain around something?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, come on,
Matt, you're the one that took that there. However you want to do it. It's just saying that explosive is what everyone wants and what is the franchise changing. And I would say someone like Tua he's not to this level, is more like Drew Brees. Where at the end you're like, wow, this guy really is good. But you watch him, you're like, I'm not blown away. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at this guy. He's completing. Efficient is not as fun as explosive. I would call Jordan Love explosive in the best way possible. He's an explosive player. Mm-hmm. Tua's an efficient player.
And I think over the last decade or so, or maybe not last decade, like the last 2 decades, really, Aaron Rodgers has kind of come around and changed the world, the way that we see this sport, because 14 interceptions used to be like a low interception year. And now we're talking about that as a knock against Tua. What is Jordan Love has 10, 11 interceptions, and we're like,
11.
We're talking about how often he turns the ball over. That used to not be the case.
Jordan Love has already thrown more interceptions this year than I think Aaron Rodgers has in like most seasons.
Yeah, 100%. It's admittedly a statistical anomaly. Also, he's throwing turnover-worthy passes. I mean, they're just he throws meatballs. He makes some boneheaded decisions, but hopefully he can turn that around because
Jordan?
Jordan.
Yeah, he's explosive. You just have to live a little bit with. He's like most quarterbacks.
Yeah, but the explosive is like, okay, he threw a 35, 40-yard interception, not a pick six by falling sideways on his own 6-yard line. Those are the ones that we need to avoid.
You could take explosive both ways.
The problem for me is Jordan Love, for the last 9 games of last year, looked like that elite game manager that could also make an explosive play happen.
Yep.
I don't know where that Jordan Love went. I don't know if there's a different philosophy with Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love where they really leaned into the whole let her rip thing, because he was efficient last year. Like, sure, the percentages weren't 74% high, but they were high 60s, low 70s. And he was able to keep the ball in his team's hands. And that's the part for me, is this sophomore slump, so to speak, as a starter, and he's got to figure it out a little bit and find that middle ground somewhere. But yeah, last year we didn't see a whole lot of these crazy throws until the last play of the season, I guess, against the Niners.
Well, I think there's multiple parts to it. I think, and I've had this before, that the Packer fans, Aaron Rodgers, when he was with Green Bay, was one of those the few elite players, like a Mahomes right now, and Burrow, and probably Lamar.
Allen.
Who?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
He's
Lamar.
3 picks this year, I think.
True, but I mean, Allen is still year to year a little bit more volatile, and that's the thing. Jordan Love falls in the category similar to Josh Allen, where he hasn't strung together multiple years of elite. Eli Manning is the extreme of this. Eli Manning, one year would look like a Hall of Famer, next year looked mid.
He threw 30 interceptions in a season or something like that?
I don't know the numbers, but my point is, Eli, I think a lot of quarterbacks, just like Jordan Love, it could be you need to be tightened up on your coaching. Favre was like this too. He'd all of a sudden go off the rails and then get back on the rails and light the world on fire, and then you'd have to be put back on the rails. I think Jordan Love is in the realm of the incredibly talented, good quarterbacks who every once in a while are going to play like they're Hall of Famers, and then every once in a while play mid, but they're never going to be bad, and you're still going to want them. Most teams would take Jordan Love, again, we could talk about Dak's a trigger word for Matt, but you could Kirk Cousins. They're different type of play, but I just mean the style where you're not full on elite, but most teams in the league would take him, and that's where Jordan Love's sitting right now. He's 8. Again, I've said this before. I think he'll live in this 6 to 12 quarterback range for his career. Sometimes he might be top 5, sometimes he might be 13th, but he's always going to be the upper half of a QB.
Yeah, I see more of a Josh Allen.
I'm hoping for better than that. I'm hoping that he can find a happy medium between what he did at the end of last year, because it's seeming more and more like that last half was an anomaly. But
he'll streak again. He'll have a streak again this year. I think he'll rip off a couple games. Also, we overblow the half. And again, I'm just pointing out for Packer fans, take solace. The Giants game was not good. He didn't string off 7 great games in a row. He had 4 amazing games, a solid game, and the Giants game was meh. And I don't think he was great at Carolina either. But because he had all these other massively impressive games mixed in there, it all strung together to make this nice category of the last 9 games ripped it off. So my point, Packer fans, it doesn't have to be 9 games in a row. It could just be 3 amazing games, 2 above average games, 1 clunker, and then you're right back where you were last year competing in the playoffs. Because then he had a great game against Dallas.
Yeah.
And then it was up and down against the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be. I'm hoping that he can start to figure it out a little bit more. Josh Allen is, I think, the best comp just because of the athleticism and the ability to throw it 55 yards in the air, which is bonkers.
But Josh Allen started as a rookie, so his volatility made a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
And he had to, I don't think that, yes, he's been around for 3 years, but actually actively starting in the NFL is a harder thing to do than it doesn't matter.
Josh Allen, it didn't click to year 3. And then since year 3, he's still been a 30 touchdown 4,000-yard guy. Like,
right. Yeah, those are great stats. Those are.
And he led his team to was it the AFC Championship game, or did he lose to the Chiefs before
he
the AFC
lost
Championship?
to the Chiefs wherever they ran into each other. It was
the AFC
brutal.
Championship game every time because that was the game that decided who came from the AFC.
Right. So, like, yeah, true. That's a good point. Yeah. But my point is, like, he's right now getting kind of like the was it the Karl Malone or the Gary Payton or the those other guys' treatment of like, yeah, you just run into Jordan. Like that's like Josh Allen. We could have a totally different story on Josh Allen if he wasn't facing Michael Jordan. If the Buffalo Bills were in the NFC, Josh Allen has a Super Bowl.
He could be in the Phillip Rivers range, where he always just ran into Tom Brady. But
you still think he wins the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes? He still loses the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, but he gets to one if he's in the NFC.
Fair point. Unless you're Tom Brady.
True. I guess, yeah. We'll see how. But my point is, like, Josh Allen is fringe already there.
Jordan Love hasn't lost a Super Bowl to Pat Mahomes yet. Just putting that out there.
Take that for data.
He lost to Brock Purdy. Is Josh Allen lost to Brock Purdy?
No.
Okay. 844-770-3776 is how you get into the show. We did ask the question, was this victory for the Packers an impressive victory over the 49ers? And right now, honestly, I'm proud of you, Packer Nation. 53% of you say no, just a win. And 47% of you say yes, impressive win.
It was impressive. 38 points in the NFL is an impressive stat. 28-point margin of victory is impressive.
You're yelling at the fans.
No, it's not like, oh, I feel like the Packers can now go win a Super Bowl because we beat a team without their starting quarterback, starting defensive end, and starting cornerback. But that's an impressive victory. Am I crazy?
Mean, they got Shanahan to put 12 guys on the field 2 plays in a
28
row.
points
That's
is
impressive.
a huge.
Look, it's the expectation. If the Packers did this last year, you feel different about it than this year. It's expectations because also the Packers to start the year it was maybe we'll win the division. We got to compete for the 1 seed, and right now you're squaring the 4 seed right in the eyes, and so like that's a different story.
Isn't it crazy? We're talking about an 8-3 football team right now. We're talking about them as possibly making the 4 seed.
But that's right. That speaks to the NFC. What did I say earlier? What did I say to start the year? I said the Packers could be a better team than they were last year and have a worse outcome in the regular season and playoffs. Like that's on the table.
Yeah, and listen, we can't control what the Lions are doing. We can't control what the Vikings are doing as Packers. Like the Green Bay Packers can't do that.
You can though. You can beat them.
You can beat them. You can do that. But like. There's a real chance that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will make the playoffs over the Atlanta Falcons despite losing both games to them, right? Like, that can happen. It doesn't happen often, but that can happen. So we can't control how well they're doing in all these other games. But the NFC North is an incredibly important division. It's the best division in football by a mile this year. And watching them go out there and compete, we might not win the division. I'm not interested in a division title this year. I'm interested in a playoff run.
My whole point is I would like to point out that the season started, we could be the 1 seed. We're going to win the division. Now it's like, hey, I think we're going to make the playoffs.
Pretty early on.
Well, Matt, look, this was the narrative coming in. Growth is guaranteed. We're getting way better. Matt, tell us about Revive Restoration.
Revive Restoration is great. They have my back covered 24/7, 365 days a year. If there's ever a problem in my home, like a burst pipe, smoke damage, fire damage, water damage, and a whole lot more, I know I can go to revivepros.com, check out their hotline where they can get to you fast and efficiently, quickly, get your life back on track again. I had a friend, his name is Phil. He had a flooded basement on a Sunday. By Tuesday, it was dry, torn down the studs, ready to get his life back on track again. So if you ever need help with remediating your home, you can go to revivepros.com or call Revive Restoration and tell them Jim, Matt, and Molly sent you.
Green and gold blind rankings coming up next.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Kevin Bozeman, and when I'm in town, I'm making sure I'm always listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN. Even when I'm on air, I still listen to myself because that's how great that show is.
November savings are happening right now at Metro Ford of Madison. With 223 new vehicles available for purchase, qualified buyers can get 90 days deferred payments. The 2024 Ford Explorer is available with 1.9% APR financing for 66 months, $15.54 per thousand borrowed. The 2024 Ford Mach-E is available with 0% APR financing for 72 months. Make sure you hurry in to Metro Ford of Madison today.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka.
In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's handmade vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
After a serious crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. Your future, your family's future, your quality of life. That's why knowledge and results matter in big truck cases. And not all law firms have the know-how or the resources to handle these complicated cases. At Gruberg Law Offices, we have the experience it takes to make sure you're protected. And there's never a fee until we win your case. Gruberg Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's a new era for Wisconsin football fans.
Lots of fans like to jump on the fact that the student section isn't there, and they could show up early. And here's the thing. We're not asking them to do normal things. We're asking them to do the extraordinary.
Taking the conversation digital with the Jump Around 3.0.
If you're asking the student section to show up an hour plus early to get through, that is not feasible.
The Jump Around with Jim Rutledge, outfitted by Iron Jock Apparel. Streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
When you're having computer problems, you need a company you trust to get things working again, quickly and affordably. Madison Computer Works has been doing that for business and residential customers for decades. Our computer care plans take away the hassle of being without your computer or needing to bring it in for repair. Starting at only $10 a month, our local and friendly techs provide remote help and can fix most problems in just minutes. Call 608-231-8000 and sign up today. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions.
I used to be down. I used to be down and I have a friend.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We're live from the Everlight Solar Studio. Me and Alex G. Matt Hamilton up in Canada. And
St. John's.
Where?
It's St. John's, and it's crazy. We can't, I was coming out of the airport with my hardline curling bag, and there's construction going on in the parking lot. And a construction worker comes up to me and goes, "Are you curlers?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I've been known to throw a stone or two in my day." And the accent here is like Celtic. It's like almost Irish out here in Canada. It's the craziest thing, and it really caught me off guard. But yeah, it was very nice too. But again, this is the weirdest place in North America, without a doubt.
It's an hour and a half ahead.
2.5.
2.5. Okay. Have you guys hashed that out on the show yet?
I mean,
because it's wild to me. How is there a half-hour time
prep.
difference?
The half-hour time zone change is
disgusting.
Really wild. It is currently what time? 7:13.
It's Canada, man.
It makes no sense.
It's just what it is. We got a lot. I want to talk about the Badgers. We'll get to the Packers again.
Itching.
But because I'm still optimistic about what's going on with Wisconsin, but I just want also the season to end.
Yeah.
We'll do the Badgers a little bit because I just want to know what's going to happen. Who are they going to bring in? Look at the Packers.
The commits from this week are awesome.
The defensive coordinator. You could do that. That made a difference. So, that could be something exciting. But let's get to green and gold rankings.
Yes, Matt Hamilton. what am I saying? Matt Hamilton's 2.5 hours ahead, and I'm way ahead of myself because I'm trying to talk to Alex G already.
Hey.
Because we got to go back to that non-impressive win, the win that Jim doesn't care about. We got to do green and gold blind rankings. Which Packers players are the biggest storylines either going into that 49ers game or coming out of that 49ers game? I'm going to present you the 3 players, either the ones who we talked about the most going in or the 3 that I've determined people have been talking about the most coming out. Now, you won't know which, and you have to blind rank the 3 players as I present them to you in order. All right, guys. Now, any green and gold blind rankings is always going to include one player, the same player every single time. You know who that is, Jordan Love. Was Jordan Love, based off of this blind ranking, is he good, bad, or meh?
All right, last week we got kind of, we didn't do well because we put Jordan Love too high. In this blind ranking, I would put him as bad.
Bad?
Well, I mean,
he gets something away there.
How many other players are you going to point at?
All right, so Josh Jacobs for sure.
Worse.
Well, I would say
a lot were better.
But that's my point. Last time he brought in, he put in players above it. So we're working off past history here, Alex G.
Okay.
The last time he gave us 3 good players.
I'm working off what I just heard, and he went, you thought I said bad?
You don't think he's trying to sell that?
Look, I don't know Ryan quite well enough on air.
Ryan plays chess when we're playing checkers.
He's got his Denny's menu up in front of his
I'm
face
not saying
or whatever.
Jordan Love was bad, but I'm talking about expectations coming in. Less than 60% completion percentage.
What did he give us?
Less than 200 yards passing.
Last week he gave us Jordan Love, Christian Watson, and
probably Jacobs. I think
Jacobs.
Yeah,
It was Josh Jacobs last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and we put him at good. So we had to put Josh Jacobs at bad last week.
I'm not putting him at good. If you want to put him at meh.
I think he has to be right. 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 107 quarterback.
Well,
it was a meh game.
They had 12 guys on the field.
Well, but that doesn't matter. He knew that. Everyone in the state of Wisconsin was like, "Oh, sweet, we get a free play. Like, fun. That's cool."
Yeah.
Let's go. It could be Matt. I'm going to defer to you as the expert in the game, but I think there's a strong argument because bad was you actively made up.
Yeah, but that's not how it works.
Name some players on the Packers right now that were bad.
Quay Walker looked pretty confused out there. He had good plays and just confusing weird plays.
You've been hearing
Andy
talk about Quay Walker. So that's the other thing, is Ryan's only picking up people that we're talking about.
Also, Quay Walker played to his expectations.
God, that's what
Quay Walker is.
I hate Walker. He's so athletic and so just volatile. He's
just not instinctual. He's a smart guy. He's just not instinctual with the way he plays. Christian Watson would
Jim,
be
I'll
one of
defer
those.
to you. I'm okay with meh or bad. I do feel like Ryan's trying to trick us again. So we're not going good.
All right, we'll go meh.
Meh. I won.
All right. Well, Alex
you may
won.
lose. So
putting him in the meh category, and then the next one, guys. This one player scored 3 touchdowns in this game. All right. Now, Jim said it could have gone to a lot of guys, but dang it, Josh Jacobs was doing everything on offense in this game. Josh Jacobs, now we have 2 options left, good or bad. I think
good.
Good.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yep.
All right, Ryan, come on. Give us someone dumb.
Imagine not saying that Josh Jacobs was good in this game. And imagine saying Jordan Love was meh. Jeez. Anyways, now, I don't know about you guys, but I think there's one person outside of these 2 that everyone's been talking about today. And I think it's the same 3 players that we talked about last week, too. You ready to list them all? Because the final option was Christian Watson.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might be the
CBS.
first time we've nailed it.
Yeah, CBS.
Really did.
This might be the first time we've ever absolutely nailed it.
Hey.
We saw the list beforehand.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Jim, you almost stepped right into this one. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it this
Jim,
week.
Matt was with me, too. You got us, we carried our scars from last week, but we made the right choice.
I gave you the same 3 players.
I know, but last
Ryan, you're giving us PTSD.
Yeah.
Well, I have PTSD from Christian Watson dropping every big pass.
Because, let's think about that. That would have made it a 45-10 game.
Is
We
there
get 3 targets, too?
Is there a more
All
annoying
drops.
fantasy player? Because the one thing I know for Christian Watson is that once he has a good game, I bench him. Because he's going to only have 1, but you just don't know where the good ones come from.
No, there is, because I refuse to roster him at this point unless it's a deep league. Jaden Reed consistently has good games, and then he just, he had 8 points last week. Can't believe it. It just, I hate having him on my fantasy team, but I feel so good when he does well.
When Jordan Love's only throwing for 163 yards in a lot of these games, a lot of these receivers are going to bust week to week. And now it's Josh Jacobs is the only consistent guy.
He was the only pick worth having in fantasy football from the Packers right now.
Josh Jacobs?
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft. Been solid for like a middling tight end, but he gets a lot of touchdowns.
Again, but
there's so few good tight ends.
I hate tight ends. I have Sam Laporta in 2 different leagues, and he is just stuck
Sam
it to me.
Laporta potty.
But also,
That's
I
my
just
team
have
name.
to leave him in there because he's a hell of a player, makes such a huge difference. But it's more of like right now he's just such a decoy. That he's the guy that draws the attention, allows the other players to. He had one game where he had 2 touchdowns or something.
Super good player.
Do you think Christian Watson was taking any attention from the defense in this game, or just the drops? It doesn't matter.
Well, they had a lot of attention on him when they saw him drop the passes. Like they were enjoying that. Matt, tell us about Metcalf's Market.
Thanksgiving is coming up, and Metcalf's Market is your place for all things Thanksgiving. They've got all the accoutrement you may need. They've got turkey. The best part about that turkey, if you're a Metcalf's Rewards member, you can get it for 38 cents a pound. So go get the biggest or smallest turkey that fits your family. And remember, Metcalf's Market, it's local. They have a bunch of local cheeses. They've got specialty cheeses flown in from all around the world. They've got a fantastic meat section with that Piedmontese beef. You need to check it out. They're in Wauwatosa. They're at Westtown Mall, and they're at Hilldale. You got to go to Metcalf's Market and bring local home.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We're going to give away a case of High Life right now. So what number?
Packers got 8 wins because, they're an elite team. Caller number 8.
Josh number Jacobs 8 is number 8.
844-770-3776. Caller number 8 wins a case of High Life. 844-770-3776. Caller number 8. 844-770-3776.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, ESPN Madison on YouTube, and Wisconsin On Demand. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Starion Bank, with 3 Madison area locations in Middleton, Sun Prairie, and Monona. Starion Bank is here investing in your community. Start your experience at starionbank.com. Member FDIC. Wisconsin dropping its 4th straight following the 44-25 loss at Nebraska. Defense allowing 473 yards. Luke Fickell frustrated by failing to get stops and self-inflicted wounds. His opening post-game words, audio courtesy Wisconsin Athletics.
This is getting obviously old. I don't have any excuses. We didn't play well. It snowballed. We played really, really poor. We got to challenge ourselves. We're going to have to look real deep here in a short week and find out who's with us and who's willing to lay it all out on the line, for these seniors coming up next week.
Pella can customize windows and doors to look like they've always been a part of your unique home. Get 0% interest for 12 months at PellaWI.com.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
There's a good chance if you watch sports, you're getting served information about hormone optimization. What does that even mean? Dr. Ness Rodriguez at Carbon World Health can tell you exactly what hormone optimization means. He will take your blood work and let you know if it's right for you. If you're feeling sluggish, not losing weight like you used to, you're not gaining muscle like you used to, or you just don't feel like yourself in most aspects of your life, go see Dr. Ness Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. In fact, sign up for the 6-week experience so you can see everything that Carbon World Health has to offer, including hormone optimization. Learn more at carbonworldhealth.com.
Hi, it's Eric from Canopy Wealth Management. Our years of experience have prepared us to guide you through your life transitions. Our local professional team brings over 90 years of collective experience in the wealth management industry for the benefit of our clients. Canopy Wealth Management. Care, competence, clarity. It's not just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started on your financial future today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Mark Tauscher here, encouraging you to join in on the fun with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
The High Life Dive Bar of the Week on Jim, Matt, and Molly is brought to you by Miller High Life. Celebrate local dives with the champagne of beers. Miller High Life.
Jim, Matt, and Molly continues. Matt Hamilton. I don't know if he's living the high life in Canada, but you can live the high life. Who won the dive bar? Who won the case of high life?
That'd be Cindy in Madison, out Thanksgiving food shopping. Now gets a case of high life.
She needs to stop over at Metcalf's then, too. But congratulations to Cindy. And Cindy or anyone else out there, stop at Ideal Bar on Atwood Avenue. $2 High Life, $2 High Life Lights at Ideal Bar on Atwood Avenue. 844-770-3776 is how you get into the show. And I do want to switch this conversation to the Badgers, but I know, Matt, you're running up against your time frame here. I'm not sure exactly how long you're on. Are you on the show? You're not on the show tomorrow, are you?
All day tomorrow.
What's that?
Full show.
Oh, you're in the full show tomorrow. Well, fantastic.
Yeah, we got practice tonight, so I unfortunately
practice.
Talking about practice.
I know. I've been throwing stones all weekend at the Madison Curling Club.
Well, I will allow you the chance here to put a bow, because I think going forward we're going to talk Dolphins tomorrow's show, and then we'll also talk a lot of Badger football going forward. The win over the 49ers. Here's how I'm going to classify it, because I also – Ryan, you said the word elite going in the break. The only reason I wouldn't call, what is your definition of elite? I actually do this with my kids. I'll be like, oh, so-and-so is my best friend. I'm like, well, you can't have 4 best friends. You have a best friend.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
yes, you can.
No,
I have 3 best friends.
No. It's in the word. It's best friend. How many teams can be elite?
I really thought Jim was about to say, how many elite friends can you have?
Yeah, no. I'm not even doing a tier thing, but it's...
How many of your friends will make the playoffs?
What's right? If you're
Who's
trying to
the best player?
Yeah. Who's the MVP?
Right, but if you looked at it like this, you can get upset about the friend one if you want.
Wow,
I think you only have one best friend, and then you have.
That's just what he tells himself to feel good when he gets one Christmas card each year. It's
Hey, I'm sure Matt and Alex, you should be smart about this too. I have one best friend. It's my wife. It's happy birthday to my wife as well.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yes.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yes, so my wife, it is her birthday today. Here's what we did. Smart move by me. We went to Costco, and I said, oh, by the way, we're getting a cake while we're here. Because she would never okay a cake or whatever, so we got a big Costco cake. Have you guys ever had the Costco cake?
People use it for weddings all the time.
Yeah, it is so good.
Yeah.
Never had it before.
They're good cakes.
The weird thing is, it's going to take us 100 years to finish it because it feeds 16. We might just bring it to Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Bring it to the office.
Because even little kids like cake, but I can't give my children a massive piece of cake. They'll never sleep. So this cake is just going to be around for a while. It'll probably make its way to Thanksgiving here. But anyways, so Matt's best friend, clearly number one, is his wife. Just like mine. And Alex, you can make your own choice on that. But the other side of it is with elite. How many teams can you call elite? Because the Packers are, like I said, I think they're battling Minnesota right now today as who's the third best team in the NFC. I would put Detroit as the only elite team because you can only do one. I'd put Detroit and Kansas City are the only elite teams I see in football right now.
Okay, the Bills beat Kansas City last week.
Okay.
The Bills are at least elite then.
Okay, that's fine. I'm asking you how you want to define it. So
no, I think
I don't think elite just means one.
No.
I don't think it can mean just one. I think 2 is fair because you're hoping to get 2 elite teams in your championship game, and it's because if there's one elite team and one very good team, you just know who's gonna win, right? Like
it doesn't mean elite teams. It can't be
NFC
upsets.
Championship game.
There could definitely be upsets. Like, the
NFC
best team doesn't always win.
right?
Yeah, but the best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl or win the title. It's the so like the Bills. Who's their other loss to? They have 2 losses here. So I'm trying to. They lost to the Ravens. So I mean.
So I think right now that there are elite teams, and I think that elite isn't a cap number. It's teams that are playing elite football, and
Are the Packers playing elite football? Right now?
No, I think right now they're just on the outside. It's them, and I will say that the Vikings
just.
Yes, they're 1.5 in the tier. They're 1.5 on the tier.
They can't even reach the window to knock on the door.
They can't even reach the window to knock on the door.
But no, if they're looking in to the elite house, they can't even reach the window yet.
So they're not on the lawn. They're still outside of the fence.
Well, they're on the lawn. He's saying that they just.
But they're not within an arm's length. I don't think the Packers have done. The most elite thing it looks like they've had all year is that last game, the way they rushed. And then later that night, you watch Saquon Barkley do what real elite running backs and real elite offensive line do. I agree with you. There is multiple elite teams in the NFL. I would say I could put 4 into the elite category. But I don't think the Packers are knocking at that elite doorstep quite yet.
And I'm not saying you can only have
teams are the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Lions.
And the Eagles.
You don't have the Eagles in that mix?
The Eagles just had a single player account for 304 yards.
Yes, and they are definitely getting there. It seems like the other teams have been elite. But the Ravens did lose to the Steelers, and that was not their best
division
showing.
game.
The Ravens.
Maybe it is
what do they have?
just
3 or 4 losses?
Ravens are 7-4.
4, yeah.
4, really?
Yeah. All their losses, I think, are respectable, but I wouldn't put them in there. Philadelphia, man. Here's what's interesting about Philadelphia, and we all think about how their last year ended. And it ended
that Browns game.
They basically were the reverse Packers. They got a great start, and then they kind of slid into the playoffs, and then they lost their first playoff game to Tampa. And so, but the year before, obviously, Super Bowl team. And so, Jalen Hurts, to me, is a very good quarterback. He is streaky. He's different than Jordan Love, but the Eagles know how to use him. Kellen Moore is a well-respected offensive coordinator who they brought in. They cleaned house last year, got rid of their offensive coordinator, brought in Kellen Moore. And Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in all football, and they brought him in. So, to me, the difference between last year's slide team, because at halfway point of the season, the Eagles looked like they were going right back to, they were going to be right back at the top, and then they slid. They blamed it on coaching. They replaced the coaching. And right now, they look like a team that has fixed their coaching problem with coordinators. We saw that with the Packers with Green. They have improved their defense. It's not an elite defense, but it's definitely better than it was last year.
Number 1 in the league in 20-plus yard plays allowed. That's pretty special.
I'm sorry, what?
They are number 1. No, not the Packers. The Eagles are the number 1 team in 20-plus yard plays allowed. They're pretty good, man. I'm worried if the Packers have to. Yes, if the Packers have to play the Eagles,
I'm worried. I was trying
worried.
to wrap my brain around that too.
Yes, they've allowed the fewest 20-plus yard plays.
Gotcha. The Eagles are really good, and so coordinators can make a difference because they were talented. Yeah, they lost Kelsey, but Kelsey was the guy calling the offensive line. Everyone was freaking out about that. Jalen Hurts was in year. Jordan Love didn't call the offensive line last year. Jordan Love is this year. So you're right. It was good to be concerned about it, but Jalen Hurts has obviously been around the league for a while, so he's able to do that, and they've been able to replace Kelsey as a center. So the Eagles right there are elite. So we can continue that conversation. Matt, I know you got to get to practice. I want to talk about the Badgers a little bit. We'll talk about the Packers versus the Dolphins tomorrow. Dolphins are an interesting team to me because when they have Tua, they're a playoff. When they have Tua, they look like a playoff caliber team. When they don't have Tua, they look like the 49ers did on Sunday. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Jim, Matt, and Molly every week to find out where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes and High Life Lights. To celebrate our love for dive bars, we are going to tell you about some of our favorites, including one featured dive bar that will offer $2 High Lifes and High Life Lights for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin like Ideal Bar, Hooterville, The Dam Bar and Grill, and Madison VFW 8483.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Madison. I'm Ryan Wollersheim, and this is your Sports Center update brought to you by the Kelly Sheffield Show. Wisconsin volleyball head coach Kelly Sheffield joins play-by-play broadcaster John Audius every week for an in-depth look at the team. Watch new episodes of the Kelly Sheffield Show weekly, video streaming on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. And it was a tough weekend for Wisconsin volleyball and Wisconsin football out in Lincoln, Nebraska. First, the Badgers football team falling 44-25 against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Badgers fall to 5-6 on the season and now in jeopardy of missing the bowl season for the first time in 23 years. Badgers playing for their bowl lives this Friday against the Minnesota Gophers. 11 a.m. kickoff from Camp Randall Field. Then Badgers volleyball also being swept in 3 sets by the Cornhuskers, also Saturday night in Lincoln. Now it's much better for the Green Bay Packers as up in Lambeau Field they took on the injury-battered San Francisco 49ers, getting a big win, 38-10. Was it an impressive win? Well, you can listen back to the first hour of Jim, Matt, and Molly today and decide for yourself. Jim Rutledge doesn't seem to think it was that impressive. Packers looking to really impress people when they take on the Dolphins Thursday night at Lambeau Field, Thanksgiving.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to swing on Jim. He's a complicated fellow.
People like me.
I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN.
We're learning a lot about each other. Jim's an onion. You got to peel back the layers to get to the good part.
This is utterly preposterous that I've even heard that. So you can tell Rutledge that. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Amen. Alex misrepresenting him. That created the single best moment of Jim's career.
Oh, true. Very true.
Absolutely. So what is the beef with Alex G? Because you should be like the kiss of the ground he walks on right now.
Now, to be fair, Alex.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison, alongside America's favorite Alex Gravatt. Here's Jim Rutledge.
It is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We're live from the Everlight Solar Studio. Get into the show, 844-770-3776. I am Jim Rutledge. He's Alex G. Matt Hamilton now practicing curling. Much to the surprise of Mark Tauscher, who famously did not, I think it was a joke, but did not think that Matt practiced like year-round for curling.
Like, could he just do it like the show on the ice?
He'd probably be paying about the same amount of attention. So like, there is that going for him. I'll give you that.
I will say I did watch him at the Madtown Double Down this past Friday. He was curling with Sister Becca in the mixed doubles competition there at the Madison Curling Club.
Uh-huh.
That guy is very locked in when he's curling.
Matt?
Yes.
Yeah. For what a goofball he is on the air, and he does take it seriously. He is he's locked in for curling.
Yes.
He's competitive. He's very. Don't let Matt hear this, but obviously he's one of the best in the world.
He really is.
His team is the best in the United States year in and year out, and he is a starter on the best curling team in the United States. They basically are the Patriots, or maybe I don't want to say Bills because that's not nice, because they don't when they go to Worlds, they don't finish high. But in the United States, I think they've won 4 straight Worlds.
Can we call them like the Seahawks, the Legion of Boom era?
Okay, because they've won 4 straight, I believe 4 straight USA titles, and then they won the gold once.
So 4 straight NFC championships.
Well, they've gone to the Super Bowl.
Dude,
I would say go to the Worlds.
He has so many gold medals.
Yeah.
He gave one to Alex Strofe.
Yep.
It's
No
crazy.
idea. Irrelevant.
And I think here's the thing. Here's
Jim's sitting there being like, I never got a gold medal.
He does. Matt, I do need a jersey from Matt, but I haven't asked him for one because I don't know where to hang it yet. So, like, I have one jersey already. It's a Field of Dreams jersey from they used to do, like, celebrity softball games out there, and it's, like, 10 Hall of Famers autographed on it. So I got that framed up, and I'm already arguing with my wife where I'm hanging that one. So then I got to figure out I got to get a Hamilton one, but I don't know where to hang
you
it.
also haven't asked for a Gravatt Madison Radicals jersey.
That is right. That is correct, yes.
Great, you have three now. I'll get you. I'll hook you up.
I should just collect. Honestly, I should get one from you. I should get one from Chris Orr. Tarek Sala owes me one. Derek Engler owes me one. A lot of jerseys owed to me if we're going to do that. I don't have
Jersey
anything to
chaser
trade.
Jim Rutledge.
I don't have a lot to be changed.
Monte Ball?
Back. Monte Ball. I'm just lucky guys got a chance to host with a lot of talented people. Look, get into the show, 844-770-3776. I want the Badger football team. Obviously, we just need to have this conversation. Everyone is mad. That's not the word I want to use, but Brian's going to bleep me if I use the word that I want to use. So I would say that I want this season to be over because I'm not down on the program completely with Fickell. I do think this upcoming class will be the defining class for Luke Fickell, and they just added Carter Smith, a 4-star quarterback out of Florida, which I believe, and Ryan Hoppen, if I'm wrong on this, is the highest rated QB the Badgers have had since Graham Mertz.
Correct.
Correct.
And this class is climbing. He's now the number one player in this class, and this class is climbing up. So the Badgers, when you're bringing in the thing with stars, I don't want to get caught up on too much, but the idea with it is the higher the star, the thought is the quicker they can impact your season. And obviously portal's big, and you bring in some vets, but if you're bringing in 4- and 5-star guys, then you're looking at guys that could have an impact as true freshmen. So we talked about it before, the Packers. They added Hafley on defense. Their defense got better. You could look at the Bears with the former running back coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, Thomas Brown. Their offenses look more competent. So like an offensive coordinator can make a difference to make the Badgers offense look more functional. And then obviously they need a quarterback on offense. I think they need a quarterback and an OC on offense. Hopefully they can find both those this offseason. But I want to ask this question. And I didn't run this by anyone, but like I just want to play the blame game for a minute. We're not happy, right?
Boy.
We're not happy with the Badgers, right?
Yeah.
Like who do you blame for the Badgers current who do you blame for the state of the Packers football or the Badgers football program right now?
Okay.
844-770-3776. Who do you blame for the state of the Badgers football program today?
So I have blame, but I need to preface it with I don't think that this is a failure as a coach.
We're not saying failure.
No,
we're
the
saying blame.
CEO of the team right now is Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell has let down the team a little bit. Right, he's brought in an offensive coordinator and an offensive line coach last year who many people knew was not that good of a guy. Not like a bad person, but not that good at his job. He was not that great of an offensive line coach. They let him go. This year, the offensive line's looking a little bit better. Offensive coordinator, things were shaky. I don't know if it's necessarily entirely his fault. The play calling has been kind of botched again and again and again, but also you're playing with a backup quarterback and you've lost your running back who was supposed to be the guy. So there's a lot to be confused about, but there's also this defense that doesn't look good. And so when you look at all of these problems and seemingly an inconsistent amount of buy-in from players week in and week out, that comes from the top down. But we've landed all these 4-star recruits all of a sudden. We're getting guys to leave Michigan to come here, and the program looks to be trending in the right direction. We hang in there with number 1 Oregon. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a hurricane of confusion, but ultimately it comes down to him to having guys ready to play against your number 1 rivals.
I would say, just point of clarification, and this is important though, the Badgers still did it. They pounced because Michigan decided to go for the number 1 QB in the country, and then Michigan, Carter Smith. So basically, I read about this. So Carter Smith found out on a visit that Michigan was going to pursue the number 1 quarterback in the country.
And land him.
So then he was going to be number 2 there, and he wanted to come in and at least have a chance to compete early in his career. Then Florida State, same thing. They were recruiting him. They recruited over him, and now the Badgers have the chance. Doesn't mean the Badgers got like a lesser player. I'm saying the Badgers were opportunistic in getting a guy who was passed over by Florida State and Michigan.
And Jalen Williams, the defensive end, 4-star from Illinois. He's 6'6", crazy big, ton of they got him.
Yep.
That was we stole him from Michigan.
You don't know that for sure either.
And let's be fair though. More importantly, I would imagine the Illinois football team wanted him. And
there's a lot of teams that wanted him.
So
he had a very long offer.
Yeah, so like to get
list.
a player like that out of the state of Illinois with what Bielema's doing down there, I think is important. Chris Manitowicz Waters chimes in. When do you think the Wisconsin brass and fans will start chanting for Jim Leonhard to be our head coach? I don't think the brass is ever going to chant for Jim Leonhard to be the head coach, but I get the question there. So Luke Fickell's one of the names for sure. I think another name is Chris McIntosh.
Yeah.
Because he could have hired, in theory, Lance Leipold. Lance Leipold, obviously this year is the down year, but they actually have a chance. They play Baylor to get bowl eligible and end their season on a 4-game winning streak. They've knocked out three straight top 25 teams Kansas has to put themselves in the position. If they beat Baylor, they're going bowling, which could be more than we're going to say about the Badgers. Lance Leipold obviously ties to Whitewater, and then obviously Jim Leonhard would be the other name here. I understand that hiring Leonhard, just in the idea that you are Wisconsin and you want to bring in a guy who has a true blueprint of being a head coach in this new NIL era. Jim Leonhard didn't have that. Jim Leonhard seems to give off the vibes as more of a great ball coach, but was he going to do the song and dance and the grind it needed to raise the money for the NIL? Like, those are all real concerns. Like, on the football side of things, I have no question that Jim Leonhard would get it done, and I think he would have brought in good people, but it's a little different. Luke Fickell, for good or bad, understands that in this day and age, you got to be out there paying players. You got to be out there. You're on call 24/7. That necessarily did not jive with what we heard about Jim Leonhard as far as how he liked to coach the defense. So I understand why maybe Max said, I'm going to go. And here's the thing. Luke Fickell was the biggest fish in the pond. It was a massive get. So I'm not putting it on Mac. I'm just saying that that's another name you could put out there. You also could just you could just blame it on NIL.
I think one that maybe goes a little under, because he caught the biggest blame, right? He got fired. Paul Chryst. We lost a lot of in-state guys, the Badgers did, to out-state, right? There's a 4, maybe a 3-star lineman who's on his way from, he just played in the state championship. I don't know his name, but he's going to Notre Dame. He's just one of those big guys, and we lost him because
Owen Strebig,
because Wisconsin never went to his house. It is an hour and 20-minute drive. I make that every Thursday to go to the Milwaukee office. Make the drive.
Well, and here's the other part of it. So 2017, I would say the high point for the Badger program. They won the Orange Bowl. 2018, they won 8 games, including the Pinstripe Bowl. Not quite up to Badger standards.
Was that the year that they lost their recruiting office?
I don't know the year for that part of it. But then
which year are you asking for?
When did that happen?
They lost it during COVID.
Okay.
So that's a good point, because I think that set them backwards a little bit. But then 2019, bounce back. 10-4, they go to the Rose Bowl, they lose it. But then 4-3 in 7 games in 2020. That's kind of a weird year, but and then 9 wins, still not quite to Wisconsin standards, and then 2-3. And the team looked like, partially because that's the other part of it. It was recruiting. It was not only was Paul, like, there were stories about how this staff wasn't not only not interested in recruiting players with NIL or didn't know how to do it. Paul had kind of killed their social media department in recruiting. In their recruiting department in 2020, stories came out, I believe it was in The Athletic, about how just basically bare bones the Badgers recruiting department was, and that they were going more old school, and they weren't using social media, and they were almost going backwards in some of it. So, like, that is a trend line that this is what we're going to find out. That's why I said this recruiting class is going to be the defining class for Luke Fickell, this one coming in, and the last few. But this is the one that you're hoping that these 2 classes of Fickell started to fill in some of the holes, and now this is the one that lifts this program up. I don't know the answer to it, but I think Paul Chryst, NIL, Mac, and Fickell are all options.
Yes, but the problem that I'm having is we all are banking on this being the recruiting class to come in and do it, but we won't know if they really can, because we're asking true freshmen to come reinvigorate and recreate the Wisconsin legacy, which is a crazy ask. We need years to figure that out, but
and I'm not saying the Badgers are a quarterback away, but the Badgers are, and I know Braden Locke had a nice statistical game, but the Badgers look basically incompetent in quarterback for the last 2 years when Braden Locke has had to play. As a Power 5 program, for his body of work, he has looked an incompetent quarterback at a Power 5 school. He is a great backup, and there is this injury factor in there. And I think Phil Longo's offense has been part of the problem. So you're right. We cannot put this all on Carter Smith, Maybe the Badgers bring back Van Dyke, and so at least they have a vet around. But you have to fix the OC is the most important thing for them to fix this offseason. Defensively, I don't know what happened against Nebraska, but I can't
Same thing as that happened against Iowa.
And that's irresponsible.
Same thing.
Bad coaching. That's
Players not tackling, not playing hard.
Right, but then you had the Penn State, they played great, and Oregon, they played great.
Right,
so
but
I got to take both.
That comes from the top. You have to come prepared, right? There's a team in the UFA, the Ultimate Frisbee Association I play in, called the Detroit Mechanics, and they hadn't won a game in 8 years because they bring in local college kids to play because they somehow have maintained their pro status. They're terrible. And every year, every team goes in and wins by a ton. And somehow, some way, Pittsburgh this past year sent nobody there. No one was prepared. It's like, it's Minnesota or it's Detroit. We're going to win. And they lost because no one really cared. You have to instill this level of caring against your trophy game teammates or opponents. And if you don't do that, then you can't stay here.
844-770-3776. Who do you blame for the state of the Badger program? I think we settled on Fickle, Mac, Christ, or NIL?
Sure.
I don't like putting NIL in there. I don't like putting this amorphous cloud that you can just blame everything on.
Let's try to get everyone out, yeah.
Yeah, you got to pick one of the names.
So those three, am I missing anyone?
You could put Braden Locke.
No, I'm not putting a player on it. This is not a player's problem. It's not a one-player problem.
You could put Phil Longo on it.
Injuries?
Maybe that you believe that he... No, once again, that's just it's a scapegoat cloud.
Fine. Phil Longo falls under Fickle, but I'm fine with putting Phil Longo on there.
But that's a way of saying that was Fickle's one big mistake.
Okay.
Because you could say that's the scapegoat of that was the mistake he made.
All right, let's do those four. 844-770-3776. Looking to get away this winter? Well, now is your chance. Our friends at Coors Light are giving away a Florida experience this December, and you could win. This trip for two includes an airfare and hotel voucher, club-level tickets to the Boca Bowl on Wednesday, December 18th, and exclusive access to events surrounding the Boca Bowl. All you have to do is order an ice-cold Coors Light and scan the QR code at any of the following locations: Scotty Bar, Red Zone, Echo Tap, and Wando's. Winners will be announced on Wisconsin College Game Day this Friday. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions, securing homes and businesses in the Madison area since 1987.
The number 7 just got a whole lot luckier because of Pizza Hut's $7 Deal Lovers menu. Enjoy all your Pizza Hut favorites from pizza, pasta, boneless wings, melts, cheese sticks, desserts, and so much more. All for $7 each when you buy 2 or more. With this lucky deal, you don't have to choose between great taste and great value. You can have both at Pizza Hut. Order on the app or online at pizzahut.com today. Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It takes a team to meet just about any goal, and that's as true on the football field as it is in the office. So it's good to know that you have the Gordon Flesch Company on your side. For more than 60 years, GFC has provided cutting-edge office technology for companies of all sizes, and as the nation's largest Canon dealer, GFC delivers the latest office technology, serviced, and is supported by the most experienced professionals in the industry. That's business technology managed. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Badger fans, the stage is set for another jam-packed year at the Kohl's Center. Your November lineup includes something for every fan in your life, with huge home matchups for Badger men's and women's basketball and men's hockey. Don't miss out on your chance to catch your favorite Wisconsin teams at the Kohl's Center this season. For a full Badger schedule and to purchase tickets, visit uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS. That's uwbadgers.com or 1-800-GO-BADGERS.
Looking to get away this winter? Well, now's your chance. Hey, it's Molly Brown from Jim, Matt, and Molly. Our friends at Coors Light are giving away a Florida experience this December, and you could win. This trip for two includes a travel and hotel voucher, club-level tickets to the Boca Bowl on Wednesday, December 18th, and exclusive access to events surrounding the Boca Bowl. All you have to do is order an ice-cold Coors Light and scan the QR code at any of the following locations: Pooley's, Tanner's, Draft House, and Paoli Pub. Coors Light. Enjoy responsibly.
Brian here from Canopy Wealth Management. At Canopy, we create strategies that are tailored to your needs and goals. We've invested heavily in client-friendly software so your assets and plan progress are available to view in one place at any time. Whether you prefer only the high-level information or enjoy the intricate details of the planning process, we've got you covered. Canopy Wealth Management. Care, competence, clarity. It's not just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
He's coming out, 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 he's coming out. It's there.
844-770-3776 is how you get into the show. We asked the question as we went to break, who do you blame for the state of the Badgers program? Let's get out to Eric in Green Bay.
This is actually Curtis and Madison first there, Jim.
Okay. Let's go to Curtis and Madison. Hey, Curtis.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling in.
You know, I really think it starts with Fickle. And, I'm saying that because I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I just think he hasn't built a culture yet at the school. Watching the end of the Oregon game last week, when Jump Around came on and everyone else was excited, I'm watching the Oregon Ducks go nuts all over the field, jumping, doing anything. It just set for me how the team is. It's more of a CEO type of team and business-like. It's just not really built from the Wisconsin up with top-tier, like, 2 blue-chip level athletes. So I think Fickle really needs to work on the culture because watching another team jump around and get pumped up and watching us just flat, that's a coaching thing. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis.
So right away, yes, and any time a team comes into Wisconsin and is close, when the jump around comes out, they know that they've talked about it, they've prepared their players, and they get amped. It's a fun tradition. The Badgers, they hear it every week, right? I think that it kind of loses its nostalgia and its excitement in that way. So, like, I don't know. I believe that the Badgers can get more excited, more hyped about this, but I also think that, teams are going to come in and be excited about this cool tradition.
There's a little bit made of it, and this is what Curtis is probably getting to, and we'll get to Eric and Green Bay in a second. Dan Lanning, there was a video where basically he did this thing of like Pavlov's dog that every time you hear the obviously the story of Pavlov's dog. So then he did it for the Badger, for his Oregon players. Every time you heard the jump around, you were going to be ready for it. Like you were going to get amped for it. So every time we hear it, we're going to jump around. So then we are in fight or flight, like fight mode, and we're ready to go.
Let's go.
Now, to your point, that actually originated with Jim Harbaugh when he was at Michigan.
Really?
He's the one that kind of first started doing it. A lot of teams have done that. Not a lot of teams have done the social video, but a lot of teams have done this Pavlovian dog thing that they've stolen off Jim Harbaugh, who I'm just going to be forever upset that he was not the Bears coach. He's just never going to be the Bears coach because he is a hell of a football coach. And look, he plays tonight. The Chargers do tonight with Monday Night Football. But I'll ask this, and then we'll get to Eric, but I think it's something we could talk about tomorrow on the Jump Around, Ryan. That is at 12:30 on our YouTube channel. Do the Badgers need to bring in more Badgers, like former Badgers, to get this culture back? That's the text I get from a lot of former Badgers. So it is not as self-serving, but obviously everyone maybe sometimes smells their own farts. They're like, what we need more of is us, So, like, I'm not saying that that's the answer, but to your point and everyone's point about the jump around, like someone to really kind of add the story of like, no, this is what it means. Like, this is why it matters, even though it's like a tradition. Traditions matter. Let's get out to Eric in Green Bay.
Hey, guys.
Hey. What are your thoughts on the Badgers here? Yep.
Yeah. So it's right now, I mean, obviously it's a good question because there is a lot of blame for the way that Chris left the program. for some of the decision making up top with Mac, and then obviously kind of what's going on with Fick. I think the way I looked at this, and at the time I was excited about the possibility of Leonard with the underdog story and a 3-time All-American becoming the head coach and everything he had done from our defense. He seemed like a relatively known commodity on what we would bring on that side of the ball and maybe just fixing the offense. I always look back at the Fickle hire, like if Leonard didn't work out and the reports came out that Luke Fickell was interested and would have taken the Wisconsin job, and again, if Leonard didn't work out, there would have been a mutiny that we turned down the opportunity to swing for a home run. So I think I can't blame Max for hiring Fickell. It's the hire that made sense at the time, and it was a risk that they had to take. Right now, we don't know everything that goes inside the building. If Mac also hired Fickell, telling him, hey, I want you to install an air raid offense, and I want you to revolutionize everything we're doing. But right now, these coaching changes, these assistant coaches with Longo, obviously that experiment not working. Things with Tressel aren't too optimistic on defense either. We rank pretty darn low as far as points per game, turnover ratio, sack ratio. There's a lot of red flags right now with the defense as well. But on the optimistic side, Fickell has showed that when he has made some of these second hires, he's done it right. Our offensive line has improved tremendously. I'm at the point I'm not going to freak out too much now, but these hires, whether it's keeping Tressel or not, or who he hires now to replace Longo, these hires will define Fickell. And then what's going to be the defining thing for Mac is if Fickell's not working out and he holds on to him for too long.
Thanks for the call, Eric. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get to Tauscher on the other side. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Kevin Bozeman, and when I'm in town, I'm making sure I'm always listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN, even when I'm on air. I still listen to myself, because that's how great that show is.
Steinhaffel's biggest Black Friday sale ever is happening now. Take $100 off every $14.99. Plus, get a $100 MasterCard for every $14.99 you spend. Or choose Steinhaffel's 0% 60-month financing. Save big on all the best mattress brands and find amazing Black Friday doorbusters like a recliner just $199. Sofas starting at only $299. Shop in-store and online at steinhaffels.com. Steinhaffel's Black Friday sale. 1 week only.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Jim, Matt, and Molly every week to find out where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes and High Life Lights. To celebrate our love for dive bars, we are going to tell you about some of our favorites, including one featured dive bar that will offer $2 High Lifes and High Life Lights for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin like Ideal Bar, Hooterville, The Dam Bar and Grill, and Madison VFW 8483.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Craft your Brewers mini plan for the 2025 season, featuring all new 6-packs and 12-packs. Get in on the action with great ticket rates, marquee matchups, and priority seating. Plus, you'll get a limited edition Brewers Crowler with each 12-pack or pair of 6-packs. Looking to customize your games to fit your schedule? Build your own ticket plan options are also available. Pick the plan for you at brewers.com/ticket finder.
On December 7th, immerse yourself in Ebony and Elegance, an icy affair, the third annual gala by the Urban League of Greater Madison Young Professionals. It's a night to celebrate the achievements and recognize Greater Madison area young professionals making an impact in our community. Join us as we honor those who lead through civic engagement, community service, and professional excellence, embodying our values: invest, impact, inspire. Don't miss this unforgettable evening. Reserve your tickets today at ulgmyp.betterworld.org.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at fortreaclinicaltrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
Green Bay Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher on Jim, Matt, and Molly is brought to you by Chalmers Jewelers. Chalmers Jewelers, with locations in Middleton and downtown Madison.
What did you call yourself, Thundercat? Well, I appreciate it, Thunder.
Green Bay Packers Hall of Famer
Matt Hamilton. Help me out. Who is that?
Wisconsin football analyst.
You know what? It feels like Molly's the only one that's being sincere about that. So, Molly, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Mark Tauscher on Jim, Matt, and Molly is brought to you by Chalmers Jewelers. Chalmers Jewelers, with locations in Middleton and downtown Madison.
It is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light, and Mark Tauscher is presented by Chalmers Jewelers in Madison and in Middleton, Madison's custom jeweler. Mark, the Wisconsin Badger program, do you think that they are closer to the team that we saw who gave Oregon everything they wanted at Camp Randall, or the game that nobody wanted as far as a Badger fan against Nebraska?
I surely hope it's Oregon,
Yeah.
but I think if you look at how this season has played out, I think we've had a good stretch, and then we've had some we're close stretches, and then I think there's been games that we've just been worn out. And I don't know if that's emotionally or if it's been physically, but obviously what we've seen on the road, you get exposed on the road if you have flaws and you're not amped up and really ready to play your best football. I don't care who you play in this conference. You go on the road and your energy isn't where it needs to be, you're going to see what happened in Iowa and what happened in Lincoln. So I would hope that when you want to look at a football team and a program that is hopefully growing, you want to look at its best moments and not its worst. But obviously we've had two games that have been really clunkers, and especially on the defensive side of the football. And that's, very concerning heading into this Friday morning game.
This game coming up is massive. I want to get to that, the weight of the game in a minute. Jim Rutledge, Alex G with you, Mark Tauscher on the show. The Nebraska, they've made a change at OC during the season, and I don't think Dana Holgorsen is the long-term answer, but he has had success as a head coach at West Virginia and even at Houston a little bit. He's a guy that you just saw Nebraska look a little cleaner and tighter, and I'm not expecting out of the Badgers interim OC now, but for reason for optimism, how much do you think the right head coach, the right OC hire can help the Badgers in the next season, just looking like a team that would have an identity on offense, which I think is step number one?
I definitely think it'll help, and you have to get that right match. And, obviously there's going to be a lot of question marks. You're going to have more roster turnover in college football with this new roster restrictions. I mean, I saw Nebraska, they were talking today about 40 or 50 guys. I don't know. That'll be different. I don't know where Wisconsin's going to fall into that, but it's going to be every year now. The idea of you're going to have your core guys that you'll be able to build with, but it's such a what are you doing in the off season now is such a critical part to your program, whether it's, with the recruiting, but really the portal game and who you're bringing in and who you're deciding to keep. It's going to be just as important. But the offensive coordinator and who is going to lead this group moving forward is obviously big, but I don't know about you guys, but watching that game on Saturday, that was not an offensive deal. I thought Braden Locke maybe played his best game. He was accurate. I thought the one interception was not on him. And I thought from a schematic standpoint and what they did, they were able to move the football against the defense that did some good things against Ohio State and some other teams. So I think there's obviously a lot of question marks about where this program is going to be headed into the future. But I thought for what these guys got thrown into with 5 days to go through and, kind of switch some things up, I thought the offensive staff actually did a pretty good job on the road this last weekend as far as producing points and having some offensive efficiency.
Yeah, the offense looked fine. It took a little bit to get there, but that's kind of what we would expect with an offensive coordinator change. Now, the Iowa game and the Nebraska game have both been considerably disappointing, considering they're supposed to be our measuring stick games. With Minnesota on the horizon, how important is it to go out there and at least put up a good fight?
I think it's really important. I don't think anybody's thinking about just putting up a good fight. You're talking, I mean, I saw the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who have not been to a bowl since 2016, stormed the field against a 5-6 Wisconsin team.
Tough.
So the idea that bowls aren't important, and this is something I know all of us want to be in the college football playoff, and we want to have these huge aspirations, but the consistency and being a winning program for 22 years like we've been is something really important. And I know from being an alumni and a former player, it's something that we take a lot of pride in, and I know that the staff and everybody feels that, and especially for these seniors, there isn't anybody on that senior unit that's going to be walking out with their parents on a brisk Friday morning that wants to be a part of the group that broke this streak. So the idea of, well, let's do this, this is a really big game, and I think Luke Fickle and his staff knows that, and I think it's mainly, obviously, to keep that streak alive and to, continue getting bowl practices and everything that goes with it. But really, I think it's more so for this senior group to be sent off in the right way and not have a bad taste in their mouth, losing the axe and not being bowl eligible. That would be a tough pill for a lot of these seniors to swallow.
Be incredibly tough to swallow. But you mentioned those practices. What it's 15 extra practices for the bowl game, right?
Yep.
To me, it feels like this year, those 15 extra practices could be more important for team building and moving forward after this year, because this year has felt a little bit like a disappointment to me. Moving forward, those 15 practices could be paramount for this Wisconsin Badgers program, don't you think?
Yeah, they're always important, and I think on our broadcast Saturday, just go 15 times 7. I don't remember what that number was, but just think Nebraska
105?
had that. I think it's 105. There you go. You're a math guy, AG. The 105 more practices that our program has been able to have than Nebraska has. And if you don't think that stuff builds up and is important, is it with the roster turnover and everything else? Is it incredibly vital? I think it's more to get a look at some of your young players. You're not going to have, even back when I played, it wasn't, especially the first 2 weeks, and you're talking about going to Rose Bowls, it was a lot of young guys, development, and getting these guys who have not gotten a lot of reps throughout the season that work, and then you get to evaluate and you get to put stuff in. So I really think it's important. I think that's a key part to kind of keeping that consistency of your program, is to just have that baked into your program, is that you're going to have those practices at the end of the season. And I think there's always, the only way you get better at football is by practicing football.
Talking with Mark Tauscher, he's part of the Badger broadcast, and I'm trying to put this game into perspective. And this, obviously, the players can't think like this. They already have senior day. They already have the bowl eligibility on the line. They already have the axe there. But with all the three of those things and I would say the public brand of Badger football, just fans getting a little restless. Like, where does this game rank as far as a regular season importance? To me, it's right up there as one of the more important ones since Bielema's left, as far as just keeping that Badger tradition alive and keeping up high spirits going into the offseason, because there's a world where the Badgers win this game, keep the axe, go to a bowl game, look good, win a bowl game, and now we're all feeling excited. And a new class comes in, high-level players, and you kind of build off the momentum. So how important is this game for the Badgers to win?
I think it's really important. First off, I think we all know Minnesota, it's the longest rivalry, and keeping the axe is something that, it doesn't matter if it was Barry Alvarez, Paul Christ, whoever is coaching, it's always been an important component to what our program is. And on the other side of it, I do think there's the case for momentum and what you're seeing with what's going to happen next. And when you do that, it's really important to keep that streak going and to keep that continuing, because I think it's part of our lifeblood as a program. So it's a very important game, and it's something that we are going to take a lot of pride in and need to get done in order to try and keep this thing going. I think it's a really important football game.
Tausch, I heard you mention how good the cookies were in the Nebraska press box. What kind of snacks they have in there?
Well, so Iowa by far has had the best.
Really?
It's not even close. Like that's been the best from a food standpoint. But we didn't have cookies, and then when we went out at halftime, obviously the end of the half was a disaster from Wisconsin's standpoint. And I saw a couple of the beat guys, and they had the kind of that look in their eyes, and I said, these cookies are fantastic. And you went over there. They had different macadamia nut, peanut M&M, chocolate chip, the oatmeal raisin. They had all of it, but it was a real big surface cookie, but very soft and chewy yet, which it's not always the easiest thing to do. So it was that was kind of that bright spot flipping the script from what we saw at the end of that half, and obviously didn't get any better. But the cookies were fantastic.
Well, and Ryan was telling me that the mountains are blue after the Packers' victory over San Francisco, so obviously a little bit of a celebratory postgame. So give us your thoughts on the 49ers win, and then obviously the Dolphins, who are a different team now that Tua's playing quarterback, coming to town. Thursday games, Thanksgiving games are always weird, and the Dolphins are a capable team. I'll just put it like this. If the Packers beat the Dolphins by, I would say, double digits, I'll be more impressed with that win than the one they did against 49ers, even though that was still a good win.
Sure, I get it. I think, doing the post game and then doing our show this morning, it just feels like people are viewing that game as a preseason game because of all the injuries. And I'm not saying that. And I understand that. But, yeah, I get it. That's not how I look at it, but I can understand how fans look at a team that was beaten down. You did what you were supposed to do, and there's been plenty of games. I mean, Houston loses to Tennessee yesterday at home. Mm-hmm. Washington loses to a preseason Dallas Cowboys team, and they're supposed to be one of the better teams. So my point is there are no preseason games in the regular season. It is never easy, and the fact that Green Bay didn't even play its best, they drop a touchdown before the half, Quay drops an interception, and you still win by 28 points against the Kyle Shanahan-led San Francisco 49ers. I just don't think that's anything to kind of sneeze at. But with all that said, I felt more nervous going into that Bear game 2 weeks ago than I did Sunday. And I think I feel more nervous going in here because the NFL schedule, it's never about who you play. It's about when you play them. And San Francisco, you couldn't have asked to play them at a better time. Everybody's injured. Miami, it's on the exact opposite. You would have loved to have played them late September, early October with Tua's being out and some of their injuries. They seem to have kind of been catching their stride. So I think for us as fans, it's a short week. This isn't one of those, you don't need this to be the prettiest. This doesn't need to be, a prom where you're dressing out. Just go get it done. And if you can figure that piece of it out, and it doesn't need, if they win by 6 points, or they win by a blocked field goal, I don't really care. Find a way to win this game against a good team, and hopefully it's super cold and it makes it more difficult for them. But that's how I look at this, and I would, as a Packer fan, my antennas are way up because I think this is going to be a heck of a challenge Thursday night.
I do too. I think the weather will help the Packers. The 49ers win, for me, it reminded me of when, I can't remember if the Bears didn't play any of their starters or sat them down in the half, but the Bears had won the division. This is the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, and they could have kept the Packers out of the playoffs if they had just played their starters all the way through.
If they won.
Right, but my point is the Bears didn't bring that game to eliminate the Dragon. And a lot of Bears fans are like, look, try to get them out in the regular season because you don't want to face the Packers again. The Bears didn't do that. What happened? The Packers beat the Bears in the NFC Championship game. So on the reverse, the Packers may have slayed their postseason foe before that foe even has a chance to get in the playoffs. And to me, that was honestly one of the most important parts of that. Even though the West is still very much available for the 49ers, it made their road a lot harder, Mark.
Yeah, and their schedule is really difficult. So I thought last night was you could bury the San Francisco 49ers. Now, whether or not they're going to get guys back and healthy, I don't know. And as you put it, that division stinks, and somebody's going to have to win it. San Francisco obviously has championship chops. They know they fight. They have a bunch of really good players, and if they can get all those guys back, and if they can make it an elimination game on the end of the season versus Arizona, I think they would take it right now. But they still have Detroit and Buffalo. That's 2 more losses potentially, and then I think they still have Miami. So I think it's going to be really difficult for them. But help me remember that, Jim. I don't remember Urlacher and Briggs and that group they played the entire game, and it was an absolute dogfight to beat them at the end of the season. I don't remember them laying down and trying to let us get in the playoffs.
I don't remember laying down. I remember Sports Talk Radio being very upset. I believe Lovey at least sat some players that upset Bears fans. It wasn't like they laid down for it, but I remember there was a lot of people upset. It was the Bears screwed up. I mean, the Packers went out there and they won the game. I don't think they would have won with their starters, but I remember Bears Sports Talk Radio was very much of like either a strategic sitting or maybe as the game got away from them, they just pulled guys because it was dumb. You can't let the Packers face you again in the playoffs.
Jimmy, you certainly know more about Bears history than I do. I'm not going to try and act like I do. But I do recall they emptied the bucket, and everybody after that game was saying we were doing everything in our power to get you guys out of here because they knew.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm misremembering.
Maybe I am too. Maybe I'm just.
Game ended up being 10, I think the game ended up 10-3.
Maybe
so it was a classic Bears-Packers just grinder, and we found a way to make a few plays at the end. I think they emptied the bucket to try to get us out.
Yeah, maybe it was the offense. Maybe I'm misremembering it. I honestly could be. I just remember it was very Bears. That's a moment in Bears history where they're like, why didn't you just end it in the season? So I don't know exactly what the Bears did.
And Jim, that's a good life lesson, and I think for this perspective, especially in sports, and I thought that's why last night was really important, even though they didn't have their guys. You want to put doubts in people's heads, and I think you saw it meant a lot. You listen to the post-game commentary by our players and coaches.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of hurt from how that season finished last year, and I think to move forward, sometimes you need to get that, and I think this team was looking forward to this game. And when Keyshawn Nixon saying, it ain't our fault that so-and-so's injured, everybody deals with that stuff, deal with it. We just did a better job of dealing with it. And I think that's the healthy way to look at it, and to be able to stomp on one of your opponents that's giving you, as a franchise, so much pain, I think it was a really good feeling for that group, and especially Matt LaFleur, to take it to Kyle Shanahan last night. I think it was a very therapeutic, let's move forward. And now we have bigger fish to fry than just beating the San Francisco. That's why I thought last night was really important.
All right, I look back. Jay Cutler threw the rock 39 times, 2 interceptions. That was they had the full squad out there. It seems like no one else took a snap.
Don't remember.
It must have been a different year. That's really not the point.
Yeah.
The point was the Bears didn't finish the Packers in the regular season.
Couldn't.
But But you can admit there's a difference between not being able to do something and laying down. And I just remember.
Oh, I didn't think the Bears laid down. It was more of I'll have to look it up. Maybe I got the wrong day because I remember Bears. Maybe it was. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. I remember Bears fans are very upset about hey, the Bears did not do everything possible to win that game. But Alex, if you want to live a decade ago, you can. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly presented by Coors Light.
Listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, ESPN Madison on YouTube, and Wisconsin On Demand.
November savings are happening right now at Metro Ford of Madison. With 223 new vehicles available for purchase, qualified buyers can get 90 days deferred payments. The 2024 Ford Explorer is available with 1.9% APR financing for 66 months, $15.54 per thousand borrowed. The 2024 Ford Mach-E is available with 0% APR financing for 72 months. Make sure you hurry in to Metro Ford of Madison today.
Ready for the best Black Friday prices guaranteed? You'll find them at Fleet Farm. Doors open Friday at 5 a.m. with a free plush penguin for the first 500. Then enjoy great deals like a Blackstone griddle with free cover and accessories for just $199.99. A Milwaukee Pack-Out Toolbox System with free organizer is only $229.97. Plus, take 30% off all in-store footwear. And if you can't wait, early Black Friday shopping starts Wednesday at 8 p.m. Online only. Only at Fleet Farm.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Liberty Station American Tavern and Smokehouse isn't just a barbecue restaurant. Fish fry, walleye, and vegetarian options are available, and they have a menu that's sure to please everyone. Liberty Station smokes their meats daily with a 1,000-gallon custom smoker, giving you the freshest experience possible. Enjoy happy hour with daily discounts on both food and drinks at their large bar with 20 draft taps and multiple TVs to watch the big game. Be sure to check out their sprawling patio with an indoor and outdoor porch area too. Liberty Station off the Beltline on Rimrock Road.
Kyle Walls here from ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Bruston Norman, and you know I'm watching every snap this football season with the Underdog Fantasy Sports app in hand. With over 5 million people playing and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in. Make a play with just $1 or go big. Play their pick'em game, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Underdog has all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. You make picks for a pick'em entry and choose if players will go higher or lower when it comes to their stats. Maybe it's Jordan Love higher than 250 passing yards, or even Travis Kelce under 1.5 touchdowns. You can even win when you lose with Underdog's double flex option. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up using promo code KBN, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code KBN, and join me and millions of others and win big. Must be 18 plus and present in state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org.
Looking to get away this winter? Well, now's your chance. Hey, it's Molly Brown from Jim, Matt, and Molly. Our friends at Coors Light are giving away a Florida experience this December, and you could win. This trip for two includes a travel and hotel voucher, club-level tickets to the Boca Bowl on Wednesday, December 18th, and exclusive access to events surrounding the Boca Bowl. All you have to do is order an ice-cold Coors Light and scan the QR code at any of the following locations: Scotty Bar, Red Zone, Echo Tap, and Wando's. Coors Light. Enjoy responsibly.
Matt Hamilton here to tell you about my friends at Revive Restoration. Nobody plans for accidents to happen, but when they do, you can count on Revive to be professional, efficient, and detail-oriented as they make things right again. Revive Restoration.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is UW Whitewater alumni and stand-up comedian Kevin Bozeman, and you're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN. Go Warhawks!
Oh, yeah. Round and round, round they go.
The Horseshoe Bar at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton is where you can spend a great pre-holiday season. Go there on Black Friday. You could go there during the week. You could go there on Wednesday, a big night to go out. We're going to be there next week. Matt Hamilton and I will be there. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. So check out Sizzle, Swizzle, and Swirl Happy Hour at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. Great holiday gift, too. You can get gift cards. And make sure to say hi, Lee, when you go. He's Alex G. I am Jim Rutledge. We're live from the Everlight Solar Studio. Primetime War shine behind the glass. And let's hop into Throwing Stones.
1, 2, 3, up.
Some takes are cooler than others.
You know this kid is as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Some opinions are just cooler than the rest.
That was cooler than being cool. Ice cold.
And if you keep it chill, then it's a cold take.
Chill out. I'm chill. I'm chill as a cucumber, man.
I'm always the coldest.
This is Throwing Stones, presented by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's chillest Kia dealership.
Yeah, guys, whether it's hot, cold, or just chill, some days we don't have time to get into our best takes, which is why each of you will only get 30 seconds today to give out your best take. I'll decide whose was the best and crown them as today's chill champion. Alex G., you start us off with 30 seconds now.
Listen, okay, so I went to Wicked this past week, and it was awesome. I thought it was fantastic. People told me it was not going to be good, whatever. The show was awesome. It's split into two. Why do I have to wait a year to see the other half? Yes, I've seen the Broadway musical. It's fantastic. I want to see the second half. Dune taking forever for part 2. All of these movies think they have all year to come up with the second one. I know that they finished filming the whole thing January 6th of this year. Just show me the next one. You have 4 months. You get 1/3 of the year. That's all I ask. Give me the next part soon.
And we got to get to the next host, Jim Rutledge. 30 seconds now.
My stone is at Alex G here. I didn't know it was split into two. Did he just kind of, was there a spoiler there?
No.
Was there a spoiler?
No,
it was should have been given.
If you looked online, it was out there.
Right?
King Solomon spoiler here, Alex G.
Well,
Split it in half, and if you still love it, then you'll take each side willfully.
So I'm just saying that I guess they're doing it like, at least it makes more sense for this than it does other movies because Broadway shows have 2 acts. So, well, now I know how this one ends because I've seen Wicked.
It's available everywhere.
I don't know. 844-770-3776. I want you to text in and say, did Alex commit a movie faux pas by ruining Wicked?
Spoiled Wicked, the movie.
I mean, plenty of people have not consumed the other media for it.
I didn't say anything about what happened in the film.
I didn't say they split it. I didn't know they split it too.
Congratulations, there's a second one coming.
Unbelievable. All right, this has been Jim, Matt, and Molly. You in tomorrow? Who's in tomorrow?
Not me. I'm out
Apparently
of state.
Matt's in.
John Audius.
Where are you going?
Going to North Carolina.
All right, have a good Thanksgiving. This has been Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful